All right. Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday. Welcome to Ben's Brick Designs. Thank you for being here. I'm Ben. Good to see you. Thanks for joining. If you're here for the first time, I appreciate you stopping by. Hello, Missy. Good to see you as always. And I saw Johnny was in the chat earlier. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. We're going to be working on the design for Q2 as always. I had some ideas that I wanted to kind of work on, some structural stuff for the pillars. So I've been playing with that for a little bit. So I thought I'd keep working on that. Hello, Dusty. How are you? Nice of you to be here. I appreciate you coming by. In about 5 minutes, I have to stop an air fryer for Beth's dinner. I don't want it to burn her chicken. So I'm listening for a beep. So welcome. Did some other Q2 related stuff today. We tore down, or we took apart the TIFO that was up this past game. Hello, Jake. How are you? So we disassembled that from the netting. That took about a half hour. It's so funny. It takes about 3 to 4 hours to put it up on the net, make sure it's lined up right, zip tie it down, raise it, lower it, make sure it's all stretched out nice. It takes about a half hour to take it all apart. It's like anything, right? But yeah, so the idea that I had was there is no reason, and first of all, hello everybody. Thank you for being here as always. We'll get to some Lego news here in a second. There's some things that have been going on past few days, some releases and stuff we can chat about. If there's something you'd like to talk about, we can for sure talk about that too. Can you get a good look at my logo and see if you like it? I mean, I guess on your YouTube channel. Let's see. Is that it? So this is Jake's YouTube. Why have I not subscribed to you? Yeah, it's pretty cool. I can't tell what that says. Jake the Ninja. All right, cool. Hello, Aries Silva. How are you? Listo. Thanks for being here. Yeah, this isn't like MLS propaganda stream or anything like that. I just happen to have a couple folks here from Los Verdes and the fan base. So I know that I said I wanted to keep everything on 1x1 plates, but I think I might push it and have the seats on 2 different plates and have them attached so it's one big build. That way I can attach these seats as the whole section as one big section. And I'm not worried about, like, because you can see the line in here where there's a seam because I wanted to do 2 different sections. So rather than do that, I think I'll just try to figure out how to make it so we've got 2 plates and it'll just sit on that, which means building part of the concourse. All the shops are in here, that kind of thing. I'd rather it split kind of in front of the shops. That way I can kind of get whole sections and then build the concourse around it and everything. So yeah, agreed. That was a terrible penalty kick. I could have kicked it like that. Straight on with no force. That's fantastic. So, beer of the night. This is from Starbase Brewery. Starbase, I think, is out of Houston. It's covered up by a label, so I can't really tell. Starbase Brewing, Austin, Texas. So if you're not familiar with Starbase, I don't think that if they have a brewery, I haven't been to it. But I think they just do canning for stuff. And I've stopped by their booth on the craft beer festival kind of thing. And they're fine, you know. And this is called the Terraformer. Ooh, that's nice. That's very tasty. It's the official brewery of Mars. This is a Martian style red ale. Lovely. I want a 6-pack of that. Favorite hello Greg, how are you? Favorite Colorado beer? That's a good question. Colorado, I feel like, was on the forefront of the microbrewery revolution with Fat Tire. And they had a bunch of, at the time it wasn't craft beer, it was microbrewing. And this is even back when I was in college, they were starting to do this. And so you could go to places like, what was that? The Ice House, and they would have Fat Tires. And it was, they were pretty good. And since then, the area between like Boulder and Boulder, Lion, it's not Niwot. What is that area over there? It may be Niwot. Kind of going into Longmont area are all like, it's a big brewing area. And there's a couple, I have stickers for some over here. I forget where they are, but they're all pretty good. I don't know that I have a favorite, but I could probably list a few. Do you know Vince Edits? I don't. Yes, Johnny, it is the official beer of Mars. And you posted, so if anybody would like to go to my Discord, Greg posted a Lego reveal over there. So yeah, so I'll go ahead and just kind of work on this and we'll talk about some Lego stuff. There's been some new Lego news. I'm gonna go check on chicken real quick. I'll be right back. Hold on. Perfect. Luckily, the timer shuts it off. Oh, cool. Well, would you like me to send you a case, Johnny, of the official brewery of the official beer of Mars? So there are a couple sets that are coming out or have been announced. One being the new art set, which is the I don't remember the guy's name, but it's like Halding or Heralding or something like that. And he is doing it's Keith Haring, and it is dancing figures. And I don't know initially if it would be considered street art or where it was originally seen. I don't have the information for that. Feel free to look up Keith Haring dancing figures. But that's the latest art piece. I don't think I'll get it, but I will say that I am interested in how they made the shape. It's almost interesting enough that I'd want to get it just to see how they build the different shapes and give it the outlines. It looks really interesting in terms of a technical level, but like other than that, just no desire. All right, so let's just assume we're gonna practice with this one because this one's already put together. And I'm gonna move this whole thing out. Get the good view. There we go. I'm gonna get this whole thing, and if I remember correctly, I take a few of these with me, so make sure we get all the right ones here, and not those, and not that. Oh, and I need to regroup all those pieces. Okay, so let's take all this and move it to one side and see what it looks like. I think I ended up taking a few, yeah, these, and that's fine. Move all these back. Provided my keystrokes work properly. So here's part of what I run into is like how to bolster the under, you know, because this all has to be bolstered up. So do I, you know, you split this up into 2x2 bricks, make that whole section, break this up into smaller pieces here. So, you know, a 2x4. So that's something we could do. So let's go ahead and do that since that's the plate. So we'll go ahead and do some tile here. And this is all just to try to make this just one section that you can bring in per section, just kind of assemble them. But stuff like this is a little weird because it's, you know, it overlaps by one. So which one do you split up? Or do you push the whole thing down one? But I think because I had the capo stand up here, there's a reason I had these. Although I think I could move them all down. All right, so let's do that. I'm gonna move all these down. Yeah, no reason not to do that. That capo stand is in a good spot. And then we will, I think this is why, because I wanted to be able to get these together here. But I think having a break is not going to be the end of the world here. Also, let me know audio, video, everything is looking good. Yes, sorry. You've been working on this for a while, haven't you? Looking great so far. I have. It's been about a year or more. And I want to work on it more. The problem is I only work on it on stream. So I need to get back into like every day after work, kind of taking a few hours and working on it, because that's how I did the Capitol. Hello. I'm doing well. How are you? Good start to the day, but I'll tell you later. Okay. Your chicken strips are ready and in the air fryer. You're welcome. Oh, don't mention it. So yeah, this is taking longer than I wanted, but oh, come on, really? That doesn't work? Why does that not work? Oh, it'd be great if you did. I don't know if there's another piece I could put right there that would do the same thing. You know what they need now, Lego nerds, is a 1x1 with an open stud. Not just a round one, but an open one. That would be great. So yeah, so this has taken longer than I wanted. But no. I don't know if I want anything here. Maybe we'll just put a tile in here and forget about it. I don't want to get too crazy with this. This is what I call getting mired in minutia, mired down in minutia. So we're just going to do this. We're going to move on. Practice next week. If it's an open one, practice got canceled due to the thunderstorm. Be back soon. Okay, I'm assuming you mean Austin FC practice over at by the pitch. I'll figure out how to get a case of. You could probably order a case of it, but I'll figure out how to get a case of this to you. Oh, okay. whoever that was earlier, somebody Vince Edits is also 10 and has joined La Murga. Does he play an instrument? When you get back, I'll ask. So what this means is attaching this whole thing. I was also thinking, and this is going to screw a lot of things up, of maybe doing a Technic frame instead of a bunch of bricks under here. It would be lighter, but it also might be a little more work. Let's see, this is going to go right in there. So I need to be able to remember that it goes right there. So now it's all one piece. Now it's a nice section there. So that overlaps a little bit right there. Because this is fairly, if I built this all back up this way, it's just going to fall over. If I just stack bricks behind it, it'll probably be fine, but I don't know how heavy that's going to be. So here's like, here it is in real life, right? So what I'm thinking of doing, and I probably have to build this in real life, is extend it out by another plate and then have this just keep going up. But this already, you know, I want it to be able to just kind of fall at an angle. So I'm not worried about, you know, what, you know, getting it the right angle specifically with a hinge or anything like that. Just let its own weight take it down to the bottom, and then just line the bottom with like the sidewalk kind of thing and the bars in front. But if I put a bunch of weight on the back here, it's going to fall the other way. So, you know, attach it and then move the hinge all the way up to the top, but then it's soft in the middle and could get pushed in. So now it's like, do you work with a Technic frame and kind of do the same thing? You know, and then you got to rebuild this whole thing internally, all these plates and everything, to make sure it attaches to a Technic frame. So these are the concerns. So this is why it's been taking so long, because it's, you know, I want it to look, I think the problem is I backed myself into a corner wanting it to look a certain way, but if it doesn't look like the stadium, there's no point in doing it, right? So it has to look like the stadium. It has to look like you could get down there and walk around and buy stuff from the shops and the beer places and, you know, see what it looks like, what the pitch looks like from where you're sitting. So, so this I may have to build out just to see, but, let's slide this back in, because what I want to check on as well is where the bugs and stuff around here, where the rest of the shops and the concourse go. And you can see already this has slid away from its regular positioning. That should still line up. Okay, good. Cool. So that's attached. We can go back through and attach all these, but I took them all apart to work on the internal. And by internal, I mean like how they all line up. Like this all needs to be put back in place and everything. So this space right here, this is the concourse level. So if you notice these holes right here, they have stairs that go down to concourse level. And this right here is concourse level. So whenever you come into the stadium, this is about the level you will be walking around on, right here. So all of this from here on out is basically foot traffic level, right? And from here up to about here, there are shops right along here. So all the way back in here, this is going to be a big piece of cement right here. And I need to figure out how to make that, you know, I still didn't figure out how to do it down here even. And this is a tunnel. That tunnel goes in here. I still don't think that's wide enough. comparatively. Might have to move back a bit, but it may be fine. But this is a big piece of concrete right here, and then the shops start right here, and then they're about this big, right? And then there's pillars that go up from the top of the shops to the top of the things here. What's up, George? Snot bricks at the upper hinge area with Technic bricks using friction pins as a hinge. Yes. So there's a bunch of ways to do it. What he's talking about, we'll kind of show you here. This is already lower than I wanted it to be. So we'll get another one of these over here. So when I move this back into place, it moves back into place. How you doing, George? Okay. Probably got a conflict somewhere, but I don't see it. Oh, it's right there. So yeah, I need to slide all these guys over now. Do this a little at a time so I don't lose the whole section. Howdy, howdy, howdy. There is a bit, and it cracks me up every time I see it. That's from Toy Story, where they're all hiding. They all hide in the toy box, and the shark comes out, and he's wearing a cowboy hat. And he goes, "Hey, everybody, look, I'm Woody. Howdy, 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 howdy." And just a shark going, "Howdy, howdy, howdy, howdy," is really hilarious. So, that's why I stream, man, so I can take a break from life. So snot bricks at the upper hinge area with Technic using friction pins. So there's several ways to do this. This was one of them. This is some tube arches or some tube brackets in here that are part of the thing. But you could also have, since these have plates separating them, you can have one of these plates be a 2x4 plate, and you could do all kinds of things with it. You could have a Technic brick. Like this sticking out. So like, let's assume one of these, this is a seating level. Let's just play like it's a seating level. So they're separated, right? By modded bricks. And let's say it's at an angle, like I forget what angle it is, 30, 40 degrees maybe. And then you could have pin, friction pin, and I can never remember which one is the one that's ubiquitous. It's not that one. I think it's this one. It's whatever one is like a penny. You put that in there. You know, and then you've got a modified brick in here. So this is just to get the model right. So this is what happens when you bring it out onto the model frame and it gets all bent out of shape. So this is like where the chairs are going to go, and this is behind the thing, and then you get a lift arm, and you can hang that lift arm off the back. And then that'll support it. Like that. So you put this on the back end of this thing, and it supports it like that. And then this goes down to a base. And then on the front of it, I mean, you could do this the same way the hinges do up here, right? Because this'll still tip forward. But, you know, I could do that up here. And just have this mounted on a bunch of lift arms going all the way up. And if I did that, I could build around it with bricks. So this is a possibility. And then these lift arms get pretty big. You could have a pretty massive lift arm. And then you could, have 2 of these. Like so. And have another one of these on the other side. Actually, you don't need those friction pins. You need Technic pin 3L. This guy. This guy's in blue. Get 2 of those. Put that in there and that in there, and now it's not going anywhere. And then you can attach down at the bottom. So you get a bunch of these, and then you can do away with all these bricks. Cool. We're on the same page. They get pretty big, Johnny. I don't know if you've noticed. If you talk just the right way to your lift arms, they get pretty big. Also, I think lift arms, for the most part, come in a variety of colors. A lot of these, if I can get them to be in white, that's perfect, because that's what most of the struts of the stadium are in, or is in white. So yeah, so I think this is going to be the next thing I actually try building, is I'll take this whole thing apart. I'll add I'll just do a bunch of other layers up here so it fills out the whole section. And then attach this to the top and figure out what best way to, because we can try it here just to see where it fits. So let's say I kind of want it to be high up. The problem is I don't like songs that have talking in it. Yeah, sorry. If you pin it this high up, right? You got a joint up here. This whole huge section falls down and hits down here. It's just a natural way it falls. If you don't have anything in the middle, since it's just brick and plate, if something pushes on that, or just over time, it's going to collapse on itself. So in the software, it'll be great. It'll line up and everything, but I'm going to need something, which is why these are here, to keep it from being pushed on, right? So I could probably reuse this somehow. What happened to this? What's going on with that? Why is that all bent out of shape? Did I screw the angle up or something? I don't know what I did with that. There's got to be a piece in here somewhere. I think I put a piece in here. Yeah, there's a... Sometimes the software gets a little messed up because there's a... Oh, I see what it is. Yeah, what the heck? So, this is the other problem. I've made all these copies, and I shouldn't have. What the what? Something's funky. Something is funky. Sounds like somebody wants to get funky. Any Scott Pilgrim fans out there? It sounds like somebody wants to get funky when they do the base battle. Oh, whoops. Turn to main model. Now all these are going to be messed up because see, I did all these. These are all copies of this. So whatever I did, change that back. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with these. Maybe another down at the bottom to the angle of the seating. Yeah, I mean, I could make a triangle. So again, we could use, this is just an idea. Do that, do this, get one of these big lift arms. Do I think we can win against Houston? I mean, I've been a fan long enough to not think that we can win against anybody. 270 minus, so that should be 230. Nope. I will be pleasantly surprised if we win against anybody. Is my guess. So this also needs to be. I thought it was 40. Okay, so we're second, but we have like the lowest goals of the league, I think, if not then at least the Western Conference. I don't expect like if we have so many draws and 1-0 wins, 1-0 wins, but because we haven't lost, we're in second place. Our record is really weird. I'm gonna pull it up because I don't exactly know where we are. Let's do MLS standings. So yeah, Eastern Conference, Western Conference, we're second. But if you look at, okay, so games played, cool. Wins, cool. Losses, not great. Ties, okay, cool. Goals for with 7, goals against. Our goal differential is -1, but we're in second place. That's just crazy. And all our games have been like 1-0, 0-0, 1-0. Yeah, supporter shield. We could do so much better. So I think we have all the pieces in place. Like we're not as bad as we were last year. In terms of, I still think there's like some porous defense going on, but I think that friction pin. I think we need to get out of our own heads in terms of defense. There's a lot of things as a coach. I'm not an MLS coach. Shocking, absolutely nobody. But there's a lot of things, you know, the eyeball test of, well, I think they should, blah blah blah, right? Just from my limited knowledge, I feel like they should stop running so many plays out on the wings. I feel like Vasquez and Bukhari and, well, not Bukhari or Obrian, but Vasquez and Uzuni have the speed, and they should be able to kind of, if you can feed them something up the gut, they should be able to do that. But we're not getting people forward. We're not taking advantage of that. We're doing less horseshoe of sadness, so that's good. I'm like that. I like that. I don't know. Nico's managed however many games, 9 games, like against 4 seasons. Like, it's hard to tell. So this doesn't go all the way down. I think that's the biggest lift arm you can get too. So let's practice with this. Let's take a piece over here, and let's take our section, and we're gonna make a copy. And we're gonna place that here. We're gonna take all of these, and we're gonna go into a new file so I don't have to deal with all this other stuff. We're gonna just play with this right now. Yeah, exactly. Like the first game of the season, we looked actually really good because we were kind of, Danny was funneling everything kind of up in the middle. From what, we love doing this and we love doing this. I think Gallagher is the only one that goes up. When he is on the wings, he's the only one who pushes up, right? Uzuni and Vasquez are just waiting for it. You can see them making runs, and nobody's feeding them anything. They're too worried about possession. They're so worried about possession. So yeah. Anyway, oh, I got an itch in my back. So for Lego stuff, I talked about the dancing figures. That's kind of been a big piece of news because it's again divisive. People are not really sure. 360, 320. There we go. I don't know exactly what the angle is. What's the angle over here? Well, so I get where they're going with it. Like, I feel like Lego does want to do more art stuff. I feel like there was a push from a lot of people, AFOLs, and adult, not really maybe like us, where we are building a lot and we get lots of things. We get video game sets, we get Star Wars sets, we get Friends sets, we get Dream sets, like kind of the things that are great we'll get ideas sets, we get botanicals, right? We just, it's a wide range. And people like us are like, on top of that, I think more art sets would be good. And Lego went, okay, cool. We got Starry Night, we got Big Wave, Great Wave, we've got Mona Lisa, we did Sunflowers, like cool. And then they're like, obscure, random, modern art. We're like, okay. I don't know if they did the Mondrian set or not, if that was official. But then this is like, okay, cool. You know, it's a big deal because something. Like, I don't know the history of the art piece. If it's, you know, if it's a big deal because it's a big deal in the art community or what. Like, I recognize the figures, but I don't know why it's a big deal. But they could look at something. Hello, Pandemonious Panda. How are you? Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Buys you tickets to El Paso game. Cool. But I also think they take like the wide range of suggestions, and I'm sure they have people who are like on that team, on the Lego team, who are given, you know, an opportunity. Hey, we're going to start doing some art sets. Why don't you come up with 5 of your favorite, or we're gonna committee this. Everybody bring forward a couple pieces of art. We'll kind of look at them. We'll debate on what, how each could be built, what merits each has in terms of like a, from a buildability standpoint, a display standpoint, marketing standpoint, all this kind of stuff. And that's not going to fit, is it? That's going to conflict. No? Okay, cool. All right. And then I'm going to put a slope on it. So they probably saw this and went, you know what? This would be a good challenge, Lego building wise. I think I want this to go the opposite way. So it's a unique Lego build. It looks good as a display. It's technically a piece of art. And they ran with it, right? Whereas the artist in me is like, why don't you do a Gustav Klimt? Why don't you do the Kiss? Why don't you do Monet? Why don't you do, you know, blah, 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 blah. And that's probably not something they want to do. Oh, wait, I'm not working on it in the place I wanted to be working on it. Oh, well, we won't work on it here. But I get what you're saying. It's like, it's kind of not, you know, even if you liked the artwork, why would you get this specific one? The closer I looked at it, the more I was like, you know, it looks really, and yes, the art is simplified. It's minimal, but getting those shapes, and there's bits that are like the kind of the extending motion lines or emotion lines kind of coming out of it that you can't really see. So there's some like trans plates behind it to kind of give it some. So a lot of it is like, is the technique worth it to get the set? I don't know how much it costs. Does it say in here? It's been revealed. It's 1,700 pieces, so I'm guessing it's going to be 180 bucks. I would be okay if it were 150, but I'm guessing it's going to be 180. Not having looked, I don't have any idea. All right, so we're going to do this at, what did I say, 230? No. 40? Will it be 40? Oh. Okay. So, next is trying to get this to attach. So, the easiest way is probably going to be with more of, and I'm going to have to break this. Release. Unlink from submodel? What's the submodel? Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. So right here, and we're gonna release this whole thing, and this will be these guys down here, up there like that, and then we just have to figure out how to get this over there. Let's put a pin in that. Let's move this guy to the other side. Yeah, so I mean, I had a big hope that they would do more classic art, and I get that modern art is going to be easier. I'm waiting for the day when we get, I don't think we're going to get cans of soup, and if there's probably reasons why we aren't going to get cans of soup. So let's make that go farther down. If it'll go farther down. So this is why I wanted to do it in a different, so that needs to be separated. That actually does go on this side. But I don't know that they're gonna do a grind Sunday in the park, lunch on the Grand Jet or whatever the Surratt piece is. Get out of the way. just want you to go right there. Not too high. No. Not good. I don't think that's good. So we're running into a problem here. Because if I put this back underneath it, it's going to conflict. Yeah, it's going to run into stuff. But this again is just going to be, it's going to fall into place. So I don't think I'll be able to do this, but maybe if I say lift that up, if it takes the whole thing with it, it might. 32, 125, 128. So maybe right about there. Whoops. 128. So that should fall down like that. So that's a way to do it. And then it would have to be up here like this. How did this one line up? Right on the edge there. So like that. So yeah, doable. This is doable. So, and then yeah, you can build the other section of this into this bit right there, right? So we can take this whole top section, right, and stack it up here and replace one of the sections with that. And this should give it, you know, you put 2 of these on here or 3, and you should have plenty of stability. So what I'll do next is I'll take all this apart and I'll fill up the top like this again. I'll fill up the whole top and then replace it. Hopefully I've got enough lift arms to replicate this. I think I do. I think I got plenty of lift arms for this. It will also kind of depend like the length of each of these, where the I don't want to go too high with it because these will eventually need to be the tops of the sections have these white bars coming down that hit the top of the row of shops behind it. So we'll have to see what that does. So let's just grab this. This is the top section of it, and we'll copy it. And we'll just slap it on here and see what happens. I have something in here. What is this? So let's put this, just kind of like have it sit right there. Nope. Submodel. What did you do to the submodel? Nothing. Okay, so this needs to move over to here. Is that right? Is that how it's lined up? Yep. And of course there's missing pieces in here, but this is where it attaches. So does that line up okay? Seems like it does. So let's get rid of, let's break it all. Let's see what happens. We get rid of that brick. We get rid of that. Oh, it just barely lines up. So that's going to be a problem. This is why I don't like doing it like this. So what I'll probably have to do is line the whole backside of this with lift arms and then just see which ones line up. Because that obviously doesn't line up. And I can't tell like which one would. Maybe that one. It's like it's this brick right here that goes into a plate, and there's a little thing right here. So, yeah, I may need to kind of play with this in real life. I don't like playing with it in digital as much, just because it's big and I don't know exactly like what strength it has, and it always works in the software, but then you put it together in real life and realize it's too heavy or something. So I'm going to switch gears a little bit because this is all good. Another thing I'm going to have a problem with at some point is these big columns. So if you look at the stadium, on the corners, it has these big columns, right? And from all intents and purposes, it looks like these columns hold up the entire roof. They don't really. You can see, you know, there's a structure here. There's structures on the ends of these things. There's structures over here, right? Then there's also whatever cantilever, you know, the strength of the roof, it kind of bows a little bit, but it's being held up by, you know, this whole structure here holds it up in the middle and all this kind of stuff. So it's going to be difficult to make this overhangs this whole section, and there's nothing that holds it up. So this actually may need to have some cabling in the real model. And I don't know how I'm going to be able to do that. Yes. I'm sorry. You scared the crap out of me. No, this won't pick up anything in the other room. Don't make sex noises while you work out. Yeah. And if you do, let me know. I'll aim the mic over there, and I'll switch it to our OnlyFans account. So I just realized that this is probably going to be a problem because this overhangs the back. You know, it's held up in the back here, but then it overhangs all the way to basically the front of the supporter section. So without any supports in front of it. I think if I've got enough Technic brick up there and I've got at least 2 pins in there, just having some plates hang out this far should be fine. I don't think it'll be too much. But it is definitely a concern. Also, this giant span of roof up here, right? It all curls up underneath here. And then over the top, it doesn't do anything. Like, I think I've even got this built wrong in my small model. I have a bunch of stuff in here, and there isn't really. So, sometimes I look at like how it actually looks. I'm like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that, but we'll try it. So here's some ideas I was having for those pillars. Originally I had this, and I thought I could do I thought there were bricks, these guys, but they don't come in gray. This would have saved all kinds of problems because I could put these on here and just be done with it. You know, just a ton of these with just, it's like concrete and rebar. Have a bunch of these going all the way up. That would have been great. But either it doesn't come in this color yet, it comes in this color and is not in the system. I mean, we can go look, but my guess is it doesn't. Yeah. And it needs to be gray. You know, it's just concrete. So this would have been ideal. Because then you could do like one like this. The software is so upsetting. All right, fine. You know what? Such a POS. Okay, and then, see, and that's not even lined up. I shouldn't be doing this. I'm just getting my hopes up for stuff that can't happen. You rotate it, and then it's so this has got to be one of the more stable builds for a column ever, right? The only problem is these are limited length, so you have to anchor them. And with nothing underneath, really, like a big frame that you could build, which is what some of the smaller stadium Lego sets are built off of, just giant Technic frames, so it can hold up things like this. I only have plates to build on, so you can make a Technic frame down there and have it hold on to it. That's easy enough to do. But I found that, you know, doing it like this is also pretty easy. Just requires a few more bricks, you know. So anyway, but again, that's where the concourse comes to, is right here. So it's just the pillars coming out of here. And this can all be hollow. There's nothing on top of it, really. That's this section right here. So it's a square, and then it's got like an angled, and then an angled. It's got little stairs going up it. So yeah. So I wanted to try some other pillar ideas that would offer some strength, because these pillars obviously have to be about this tall, right? So if this was on top of like the section that is the concourse section, so like the foot traffic section, that would probably work. That'd probably be pretty good. But then you'd have to figure out how to anchor that. And do you make the anchor right under the plate where all the concourse is? Do you have to go all the way to the bottom? Is this going to be a single thing that's tied together? So the other idea I have is have the roof be, instead of like one giant piece of roof, it's also just sections of stuff, right? So the entire thing is built in kind of columns. So the roof isn't tied together as one giant piece or even big slabs of pieces, but it's just a column sitting on top of its own base. The problem with that is, again, these areas, right? There's nothing for these to sit on. So you have to have them attached somehow. So do you have, you know, you've got a column here that's its own thing. You put those into place first. You put the seating in. Then you have these big trellises that go across from column to column, right? And then you start laying over. I don't know. The more I look at it, the more I get like, why am I doing this? I could probably do it at half this scale, but this is a fun project. Keep in mind, it is a fun project. So yeah, this is this was one that I wanted to try just because it looked kind of cool. Also wasn't aware that these pieces existed, these Technic pieces. These are pretty cool. I didn't know they existed. I do like the feature up here where you can select a part and then go find its cheapest color. I don't know how correct that is, but what that does is it says items for sale. And I think it just shows like the best available, or the average of the last 6 months sale. So average price over the last 6 months. I'm going to say new. I don't think the software is going to say used, but per that color. So in brown, it's 79 cents. In black, it's $1. In green, it's 86. So it's probably just taking the lowest of that average price. Hello, Stud City. How are you? Thank you for being here. So yeah, there's a lot of different things. If you pick the color, If it doesn't, the reason I do that, the whatever the cheapest color is, that lets me know that it's specifically something that's going to be hidden, and I don't need to know, or I don't need to have it in any specific color. So that also helps. So like this, the best color is going to be this reddish brown. Um, and if you can make a whole column out of these. You just get some pins in there. The problem with these squares is their corners don't line up. So you can see in here, there's not Z. Their width and depth holes don't match up. So if you've turned it like this won't line up with this. So I had to come up with some sort of Technic pin solution, right? So you put two together like that. You put two more on the side. You do one with all these, then you put these two on it with their bits, and then you put the last one on there to connect on the corners. This is pretty good. The problem is when I'm running into this, odds and evens. So let's say I want the pillar to be 4 wide, right? That seemed to be a good, solid strength. Size wise, right? It looks about that size. Where did my, it looks about that size. It could probably even be smaller, but it looks, I would be okay doing that, right? So I don't know why Windows does this. There's Alt Tab, and the first window that it brings up is the window you're currently on. So it's like, well, I want to bring up another window. Well, how about Alt Tab? It's like you're making me do 2 instead of just switching back and forth. So I was like, okay, 3 wide is probably okay if I can get a solid core of Technic I-beams in there or something. So I was like, and there's 3 wide tiles, but then it's a matter of I only have one way to attach a 3 wide, right? And it doesn't provide a good, this doesn't look nice and sharp. It's not a sharp corner there. Is that important to me? Don't know. If I can't figure out how to make, these go together, it's going to be worthless. So, and then you got to stagger the half pins because you're using at least 2 pins in here to hold this guy in place. So you got, you got these guys holding this center piece in place. So you can add more on top, and you can't do 1 because if you do 1, it kind of wobbles. So you have to do 2 so it's a little more stable. So there's a lot of, just kind of playing around, see what works and what doesn't. So I like this configuration, but the problem again is making it nice and square, which is why I wish they made these in this color, but they don't. So I'm going to get rid of those and not get my hopes up. Stud City, thank you for saying it looks epic. Are you a Lego fan? Are you an Austin FC fan? Are you just flying by, or what's the haps? What are you looking at? Let's see. So, and then again, you can see putting these all together is basically 3 wide. Putting these all together is 4 wide or 5 wide. These are also 5 wide. So this is kind of where I stopped. I was working on this last night, and this is kind of where I stopped because I couldn't figure out a way to do a 4 wide, because you can get 4 wide tiles, but again, you can't get an angle. So even if I had 2 2x4 tiles together, there's like a seam, and that would bother me looking at it and seeing a seam. I don't know if it's that big of a deal or not. I don't know. Or even a 4x4 tile. They have 4x4 tiles in gray. So putting 4 of these together, and a good indication of what it looks like. Let's get a snot brick in here. So you can see kind of what I'm talking about with the joints, is it looks like that. Now, is it important that it doesn't look like that all the way up? How expensive are these, by the way? Ooh, 60 cents. Let's assume I need 30 per pillar or more. Let's say 40 per pillar. 40 times 70 cents. That's 4 times 70, 280, so $28 just for tiles. Always looking at the costs, man. So if we do this 4 times around, let's see what that looks like. Just copy, paste, rotate, put together. Okay. Then we would need to, I don't know if this will, if you could just stack these or not. Oh yeah, you can. Cool. So this is a good, maybe a good way to, oh, come on. It's so hard being you, isn't it, Studio? That's gonna be a brick and a plate, brick and 2 plates, brick and a plate. And it's not even exactly. That's another frustrating thing. Look how dumb that is. So there's no way to get a good seam off that. Where'd that go? Even if I wanted to do this again, that's the best I can do with that. It's a brick in a plate, girl. I got rid of that and put that down there. I don't know if it'll line up. It might. I may be surprised by the, hey, look at that. So that is a brick. Okay, so let's do this. Let's get rid of all these guys. And let's copy this. This is just playtime now, because, or brainstorming, because I don't really have a good way of doing the rest of this yet. Just crash the software. Always save. And of course, what did I do? I didn't save. I went immediately to moving the bricks around. I think did I reach my Roche limit or something? Like, why is everything crapping out on me? Save. Yeah, something just bottomed out on me. What? Okay. Whatever this is, I don't. I don't like the stuff with the talk. There we go, that's better. This is frustrating because at one point I was using this software on a much weaker machine and I was still able to work with it without it like being a problem like this. So I don't like that it's doing this. All right, let's... Nope, not that way. Let's get rid of that. Put more on here. Q Monkey 11 POS. And that's not even right. I can already tell. This infuriates me to no end. Like I'm doing all this work and it's not even right. Okay, you can tell we're going to take this whole job and go into a new file. So I don't have to worry about other pieces of stuff getting in the way. So this infuriates me that it lulls you into a false sense of, hey, this works. See that? Okay, so look at that. That's where it actually should go, right there. But it apparently thinks that's okay, and it's not. But it won't tell you. It won't conflict. It just says, yeah, that works. So I'm going along like a doofus, thinking, yeah, that works great. That lines up better. Was that 2 plates? All right. Yeah, Snodbrick 2 plates. Does it line up here now? So now we need to be able to, yes. So now that's what works. It's not the one I wanted to get rid of. All right. So now that I've got this going and I'm breaking my brain trying to figure it out, what did y'all think of Andor? Am I the only one who watched it? Getting rid of all this. We're just going to copy this. There are other Lego sets coming out as well. If you are into botanicals, they're doing another bonsai tree, but it's a I don't think it's really a bonsai tree, but it looks like a lighter barked, almost like an aspen, but with kind of like, it's got a little box and it's got like a curved little branch with like some colorful red and orange leaves on it. So it's not really a bonsai, but it's close. What do I want to do? I want to do not that. So in theory, I should just be able to do this now. And because Studio is a POS, it wants to line everything else up except for what it lines up with. See, what is that even? Okay. So that's about the height of the column that I want. I guess that doesn't look too bad. And given its four corners all the way down and locked on either side, it's probably pretty stable. These are probably going to be the only problem. How many tiles is this? 48, so that's $30 for tiles, so it's $120 for 4 tiles. I could even, if I wanted to, put a lift arm in here. I could use one of these plates. These plates could 100% be. So let's take one section of this off. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Take one of these down here and we'll work on it. One of these sections could be used as, you can tie this down to a base. So if we got rid of, let's just get rid of these guys because we know they all work. Yeah, it's very good. I liked it a lot. I like how they're doing 3-episode arc, so it's like it's basically a 6-hour. It's 3 movies, right? So there was like 50 minutes, 45 minutes, but with like the intro, the skip this intro, and then the credits at the end, you knock about 7 minutes off, whatever their runtime is. Well, so what I was thinking of doing is instead of just these plates, you get these these in here. These are not that expensive. And you can color them any color you want. Nope, not that. I wanted the other one. So I could do that, and then to help with maybe running some lift arms up in there, you can put in, and then I'll put in, you could put in, you know, Technic bricks with axles to hold things up. You could put in these single guys. You can put in these double guys in case you wanted 2 lift arms going up the insides. You could put in plate hole. I don't know how else to call this. Put these guys in and have like odd. Have like a lift arm going up inside. So there's ways to do this. So this is actually turning out pretty good. I'm glad we played with this. What's the cheapest one for that? Trans yellow. Wow, that'd be great. Yes, please. I'm gonna fill this full of trans yellow 1x1 plates, and then I'm gonna pad the order so I can make me some Blacktron stuff, or 1x4 plates. Yeah, that'd be fine too. And this doesn't have to be every level. You know, you could stack some 1x4 plates or whatever. 4x4 plates would probably be cheaper, especially since it's 2 levels. So if you were to do this, get rid of these plates, and you did 1x4 plates, you got like that, and then you just switch it, and then Bob's your uncle, and you're ready to go. What color are these the cheapest in? Medium lavender. What is it about medium lavender that is always so freaking cheap? So yeah, so this is good. This would work. It's now figuring. So the reason I want to put Technic bricks in here is because if yeah, I guess lots of friend sets or something. Is this the one that's in black? That's like 1 cent. So if I were to do this, I could have something going down into underneath, holding it in place, rooting it in place. So like, here's your concourse level, right? And this goes below the concourse level and attaches down here, right? So that holds it in place here. And then as it goes up, the weight of it keeps itself in place, but then you have a handful of like lift arms going up that tie them together, but also tie them to the roof too. So I don't know that I'll be able to have one single thing going up and down unless I go non-purist and just get like a metal dowel or something that just holds it all in place. Not opposed to making metal frames for this. This is going to be a big thing, but I don't know enough about that kind of stuff to make like a non-Lego frame for the example I can think of is like the DS9 station that they built. They had a giant frame for it. I mean, that thing was the size of a bathroom, right? And if not bigger. And it basically had a metal stand, and then I believe it had a metal framework around the whole thing that they built Lego around, which makes sense. It's a very hard shape, and all the weight I think would be almost impossible if you were just doing non-gluing, framing kind of model making at that size. I don't know how other people do it, if they do it. I'm guessing a lot of Technic, a lot of stacked plates to give some support. So I'm trying to come up with good ways of doing that. And I think this is a good one. I think this is good method. So if we were to take this, let's just try this and put it over here and see what it looks like. I think it would work pretty well. So let's just assume that I'm getting rid of these. Let's keep this. I'll bring these guys back in a second. But let's just put this guy on top here. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good look. It's not, this could be smaller, but I think that'll work. It could even be a little shorter. Probably take like, oh, the other thing is it goes up. Can't really see it, but it goes up into here too. So, but this level, like on this level, at that point you can put on, something like, let's just do 2 bricks. Why did it? Oh, because there's still one plate there. Corner plates. Something like this. To allow whatever you've got in here through, and then you can just layer that. and then start this process all over again. That way you have, you know, plates, or you just, you know, it doesn't really have to be these. You can kind of do anything. You just run plates off of this to start interacting with the roof, right? So, cool. So let's save this. I really like that. I think that works pretty good. I'm hesitant to, but I'm gonna get rid of. This might be able to fit inside it. But again, I don't think I want a whole. I'll come back and redo this to be exactly what I want. It's not going to require this mess down here. But I'll build. I want to keep this right here because this is good. It looks good. This is exactly what this is right here. It's got a concrete face. So this all needs to stay. But then past that, I think I could probably use something more like where's those ones like these to build some frames. This would be good to attach a base to, right? You can put some pins and arms inside it. Even these guys, pins and arms, thoughts and prayers. This can be the center of this whole column. In fact, because it's got tiles on it, it can be like one of these middle pieces. If you did it, if you handled it right, but at least it could be, you know, a couple of these below this, holding it in place. So, yeah. So I think I'm going to get rid of all of this for now, because I think this is a good place right here. I also don't necessarily want to get rid of all these, but if I could just leave this area, I know that's where that's going to connect, so I could get rid of all that. Let's just do that. This was something I came up with for my Horizon setup, because I had my whole sign built on the Horizon logo, and like some background mountains and stuff were built on base plates, and they were just sitting up and down. They just kind of, you know, I built it, or I built it all on the, you know, on a table, and I was like, that's great. How do I get this to stand up behind my layout? So I had to figure out this way to get like the back of the model kind of sloped up, so there was a lot of hollow area underneath it, so that I filled with Technic bricks very deep, and then I put long axles and attached them kind of like that, where they had like a round brick that also went through a Technic plate that went through another round brick, and then those plates were held on by different curved slopes, and then you just kind of double that down, so you're still relying on grip strength, but I mean, you do 4 of those per plate, and you got like 16 studs holding each of those on, and all it has to do is keep it from falling over, right? It's wobbly, but it kept it from falling over. So I think it worked pretty good. So if I were to corner off this port, this would be a wedge brick. I don't think they have wedge bricks. I think it's just called a wedge. But it's like these, it's like this. There we go, that's what I was looking for. The problem with these is they've got these chunked corners on them. but I think that's probably going to be the easiest thing to do. So at some point, those will go across here. Like that. And I don't like that there's divots in here. And I don't know, I'm going to have to go, when am I going to be there again? I could have just walked in today. They were setting up for a concert. I could have just walked in. Every time I'm there, I try to remember to take pictures. So I can, you know, some of these areas are obscured or kind of hard to find. So like this first section, how many rows up is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. About 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's pretty good. And then the one behind it is almost up to the top. So this could probably go back even a ways if we did one more slope there. But this has to have a plate on it so people can stand on it. So this will kind of go away. This is a 8 by 8. I could even put an 8 by 8 brick down here apparently. But they don't come in. Uh-oh. Oh, these don't come in gray? Well, that answers that question. What kind of weird colors do these come in? All right, well, that answers that. I love when the decision is made for me by the lack of colors. I'm like, this sounds great. This will be the perfect, and then it's not. So anyway, that doesn't come in that color either. So let's do a plate. Let's just put a plate right here. Maybe. So I found something kind of interesting, and I don't know if this plays out for anybody else, but let me show you again what this is. So when I grab this is a studio trick for anybody who's working in studio and wants to know. Studio has a tendency to try to attach things to its most logical position and its most stable position. So if you were to look at like stability up in here, there's a stability option. This is going to take forever because there's a lot going on. But it will show you green circles are stable, red things are not stable, lavender colored things are like the clutch power is low. So it's going to go through, and it probably crashed it because it's going to go through and check all the little cheese slope seats on the way. But and there's some floating things in here, and it just won't make any sense for it. So it might break it. But let's say you're building I've tried it with microfighters, and it laughs at me a lot because it's like, this won't hold together. I'm like, this is 60 pieces. It'll be fine, right? So here you can see kind of like, you know, this, it gives you the warnings. My chat, my face is in the way. Let me get my face out of the way. So, you can see up here, 288 clutch power issues. There's 192 warnings and 96 cautions. So if you were to kind of look a little closer, you could see, well, that's a clutch power issue. That's a clutch power issue, but also has stability issues. So anything that's, you know, like this is probably a stability issue. That's a stability issue. And these are clutch power issues, right? So that can be helpful if you're building a bigger model. Let's say, I don't know, the Architen's light cruiser size, or like the Y-wing size, stuff like that, where it may start being not so swooshable because you've got things hanging off it that might fall off, right? You don't want to pick it up and have it fall off. So this can kind of help with that. I don't use it very often at all, really, because doing a microfighter with that, it just goes based off of, I don't think this piece could hold this piece, even though those are very small, light pieces. So I could probably show you that. And of course, this is just out here floating like Arrival, right? I'm waiting for Amy Adams and what's his name to show up and try to talk to it. But that was a long way to say that the software itself kind of understands that there are times when a plate stacked on a plate should go one of only a couple ways for it to be stable. And it tries to, so when you see it jumping around and stuff trying to find it, it's looking for the best stability that it can find. Doesn't necessarily mean that's where you want it to go. Because there's no friction or gravity in the software, you can kind of stick stuff anywhere you want. So if you're trying to put a plate down knowing that you're going to build underneath it, the software doesn't know you're going to do that yet. So it's trying to put it in a good spot. So if I just drag this piece over here, because I want it to cover this corner. Now I haven't built up the corner behind it yet for it to sit on. So it's going to try to jump around to a lot of different places before it fits where I want it to go. See, and I want it to go like this. It likes this. It likes this. But what I'm trying to do is get it to be on this corner, and it doesn't like that at all, right? It doesn't want to do that. Notice where the hand is too, kind of right in the middle. Now, if you let go of it and just drop it onto the build area, and if you want it to be on this corner, if you grab it right here, put your cursor right on the corner to grab it, and then drop it on that corner, it works a lot better. Because it thinks, okay, that's where they want it to, that's where the center of the build is for the piece, so that's where I'm going to put it. I don't know why that works, it just does. And I don't remember how I found out about that. So that works with bigger sub models too. Like if I'm taking one of these big areas and I want to attach it to another big area, if I just grab it, like if I highlight the whole thing and grab it, and then just try to move it, it's not going to work really well. But if I grab it in that one corner and put it on that one corner I know it's going to go, it'll work great. So keep that in mind when you're building. That's a helpful little bit. Little bit. Last 20 minutes, there are new Fortnite sets coming out. There's one that looks like a like a Voltron kind of figure. I'm not really sure what it is. And then there's something that looks like a really big axolotl. And then there's a smaller one that looks like a hut of some kind, like a hamburger stand or something. I think even a smaller one with a cat. But yeah, there's a big mecha team leader one that literally looks like it's supposed to be maybe like Five Nights at Freddy's stuff. Like there's a teddy bear head and a dragon arm, and I feel like it's supposed to be a Voltron nod, but I don't play Fortnite, so I have no idea. All right, so knowing that we want to put this pillar right here, let's, this still needs to be built up. So, corner, we don't have anything that can be, wedge. I really wanted these pieces to do that, but apparently that's asking too much of Lego. The next obvious ones would be this, but I don't think these would make a better thing going across, but the angle's wrong. You see, they're 45-degree angles. I think. That's why I was like, I should go to the stage and make sure they're actually 45-degree angles. And I don't want to make this part too complicated. I just kind of want to have something go across it. I'm really kind of bummed that this doesn't exist for that. I'm trying to think of another piece that would work there, or a way to turn it easily, because I could put a plate across it. But that's these look so solid. Like that just looks so solid that I don't want to like dirty it up with if that makes sense, dirty it up with other plates. So like these could also be green. I might just make these. Does this come in green? What kind of green can I get? Are those expensive? 25 cents. 16 cents. That's a dark green though. No, that's a pretty light green. Let's do that. How far back does that go into the tunnel? I think it only goes to right about here. So let's do that. And then I think this stops being, there's like a whole thing back here. I'm not going to get too carried away with what's under here because no one's ever going to see that. But there's a whole other, there's like a garage door under here that opens. There's a bunch of doors along here that open. You can see, so this is the area where, like I was talking about the TIFO earlier. Wow, the chat got really wonky. Oh, I moved that out of the way so we could see the steps, but we don't need to do that now. So the TIFO, I don't know if you can see up here, this rigging, there's all these lines that come down, and there might be some right there right now. I can't really tell. There's ropes that come down from here. There's 11 ropes. And then there's the other sides of the ropes come to about here on the stands, right? And then that's where they, the TIFO gets put down here, and it's attached to these ropes, and then we pull them up and it raises up. We put it all together in the parking lot out here. There's a big parking lot area out here. This is where all the media trucks park and where they bring in all the stuff from the equipment areas. There's a hole underneath this stands here. There's a whole receiving dock, loading dock. A lot of the equipment gets stored up in here and everything. So that's the ins and outs for this bit right here. It's really interesting seeing some of the guts in here sometimes. There's even a little, I don't know if you can't quite see because there's a car in the way, but there's right on the other side of this car, there's a patch of land that's not much bigger than like a studio apartment that is full of sod, and it's where they grow grass for the pitch. Just this little bitty area, and it's for like replacement. You know, if something gets worn out, they use that as like a replacement patch for it, and then they fill that up again and keep growing a little. But it's not very big considering how big the field is and everything. It's hilarious. I can tell that this is the first year because these were the first year kits. This was the away kit, and this was the first year kit. Second year. I think this is the second year, or the start of the second year. Because I don't think they had this one yet. This is the warm-up kit. So, anyway. Back to this. So that's a good color. That's a good thing. I just need to be able to, let's build up some bricks underneath here just to hold this in place. Can we do 4? I don't know. I don't know how far they'll go in the open cup. It's hard to tell from day to day what they're. I don't even need this really. Let's just do these bricks. And like I barely know the strengths of our team, and I barely know the strengths. I know even less of the strengths of other MLS teams in the league. There's no way I'm going to keep track of like Liga MX or yeah, Mexican teams, Central American teams. No idea. So the other thing is, now that I've got that on a plate, I need to make sure that this is all on a plate. So let's put another brick over here. Just make sure that's level. And we'll do a plate here. Yeah, I mean, you know, everybody's got different styles of play. So the who were we playing in the first one? Colombia? Oh, the Open Cup. So you mean the U.S. team or Austin FC? I don't even know who we're playing. Austin FC Open Cup. The Lamar Hunt Open Cup. We were playing... we're playing El Paso. I think we might beat El Paso. Like, I have no idea. El Paso feels like it's I think we played them last year and I think we did okay, if I remember correctly. All right, so I don't have a brick that can fit that angle going across. So frustrating. What I do have is I have wedge plates. So I could stack wedge plates. Probably do that. Oh, that looks even worse. Because now I've got these big things in the way. These are also 45 degrees. Oh, I just lost it. That bothers me. When I bring up a piece into the plate and it goes wonky. Where's the other one? There it is. And these don't come in light bluish gray. Fantastic. They come in light gray. And I bet they're expensive. Yep. All right, y'all are out. 4x4 cut corner. I don't want to cut corner. Can I have a not cut corner wedge plate? No, apparently not. Oh, I've got one big one I could just use. I don't have any idea, man. I really don't. I honestly, the way that Austin FC plays is almost like watching high school football, where you have like a 3-12 season, but somehow you make the playoffs because everybody else has a 2-12 season. And it's like, how do all these people keep losing? So like, who's winning that they made the play, that these guys made the playoffs when nobody else did, you know? This isn't too bad. I think it looks like garbage, but Oh, I also need to leave room for stairs here, so maybe this wouldn't be too bad. I did this. That and left room for stairs coming down. That might be okay. I just don't think, like, the times we have been beaten, like against Vancouver, that was a shellacking. That was just, we got manhandled and it wasn't even close. So the idea of that team specifically going to the playoffs, I'm like, nah, they're not going to go to the playoffs. Oh, I'm done in like 10 minutes, but I appreciate you stopping by and hanging out and everything. So hopefully we'll see you at later streams. Yeah, that's cool. That works. That's one level. Oh god, that's just one level. I gotta go all the way up there, don't I? Yeah, okay. If I do this again... See, here we go again. It doesn't like that, so I'm gonna grab it by the corner and try to make it go on there. That doesn't line up really at all, does it? These need to be so much bigger. Like each tall section is like 1, 2, 3, 4 bits high. These need to be much more beefy than this. And I don't want to keep just stacking plates, but I don't know what else to do. I almost feel like it needs to be this tall. See what it's doing, where it's like jumping around? And I just can't get it to move to the spot I want. Maybe one plate shy. Maybe like that. I don't like the way that looks. I don't like those giant pieces of cut stuff in the middle there, like this. I also don't like this song. Can I skip this? Yes, please. Got 30 seconds left on it. It's gonna what's gonna happen is it's gonna make me figure out how to turn bricks on this. I've also decided, like, the concourse, I'm just gonna leave as open studs. I'm not gonna tile it. I think that's just gonna be too much and too heavy, and just it's gonna be way too many pieces. So it's gonna be open stud concourse, open stud, like wherever there can be people. And this is pretty much the hilarious thing is the nano figs. I think it's a statue. These guys are about the size of the figures of the people in the stadium. Like if that guy were to sit right here, that would be about the size. So I try to kind of make it look like that's the size. So this would be okay, right? And why, yes, they do come in green. So we can have Verde people in here, pretending they have jerseys and whatnot. So this is probably too big, maybe one off. And then just, maybe it's another, it's a little farther back. So let's go Maybe this isn't high enough. Maybe I need to go up a little bit. Hard to see. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, yeah, so this goes back a little bit. Is a 4x4 angled brick that might work. 14, 413. Ah, I knew it. The only problem with this one is, and it's not that big of a problem, I knew these pieces existed. Facet. That's the part that gets me every time. They have big ones too. They're not in gray, but they have big ones. Yeah, these are perfect. Thank you very much. I very much appreciate that. They also have the cut pieces, but that's fine because they're right on top of the studs versus if you stack up the tiles more. Yeah, that works great. That works a treat. Thank you very much. So now I can use those wedge plates to top them off, and it won't look nearly as suspect. Oh, that looks a little better, yeah. Okay. And then I think maybe one more. And then it goes back. Almost sounds like a Genesis song. Something about it sounds very Genesis-y. All right, so it's about 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. I'm going to be done here in just a second, but I wanted to say thank you very much for those who are here and those who have come by to keep me company and offer suggestions and help. And to keep me honest and sane during this process. Just lost the whole brick. I love when that happens. The brick just disappears. I will be back Sunday. Should be back Sunday. I don't think I have anything going on. Let me double check. And I don't have any new sets to build. So it's either going to be sourcing out parts for another microfighter, which I'm game to do. Working on Horizon sets, which I feel like I'm getting back into wanting to do that again. Q2 design, or there's one other thing I was thinking of doing. I think that's it. Yeah. So if you have anything that you'd like to see done design-wise, we can look at houses or Star Wars ships or design something new, or if you are okay kind of following this process, we'll keep up with this. Oh, of course, doesn't come in that color. Does that come in that color? Yes. So this is all going to be changed because of one color. Yeah, I'll be back on Sunday. Oh wait, that's what I was going to look. Yes, nothing going on Sunday. Okay. Thanks everybody for being here. I will talk to you all later. Have a great weekend and be safe, be fun, have fun, be kind to each other. Things are kind of crap right now, so make sure to be kind to everybody you run into. They've all got struggles, but be vigilant and yeah, talk to you all soon. Bye.